Hello. All right. So today we're going to start our discussion about division. And today we're kind of just going to be estimating our quotients by using multiples. And what's a multiple? Well, a multiple is a number. Multiple of a number is the product of a number and a counting number. Like if I have 1 8, I have 8. If I have 2 8s, I have 16. If I have 3 8s, I have 24. So it goes on like that. And so we can use a table to help do this. So let's look at the unlock the problem. We're on page 143. And so the bakery made 110 pumpkin muffins. They will be packed in boxes with 8 muffins in each box. About how many boxes will there be? So we're going to use a multiple to estimate. And as I just mentioned, a multiple is a number, is the product of a number and a counting number. 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. Those are counting numbers. So estimate 110 divided by 8. So why is this a division problem, not multiplication? Well, they gave me a total amount of muffins. I have 110 muffins. And now I need to put those 110 muffins in 8 different boxes. So in a sense, I'm sharing those 110 boxes or dividing those 110 muffins into 8 boxes. So what we need to think of is what number multiplied by 8 is about 110? Well, as far as basic math facts go, 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 11 is 88. 8 times 12 is 96. So it sort of gets close, but beyond that, I'm no longer really at the math facts. It's not something that I've kind of just memorized. So what we're going to do, we're going to start counting, okay? And here you see that we're going to go up to the number 114. And each time we're going to skip count by 8s. That would be a multiple of 8. So 1 times 8 is 8, 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 8 is 24, 4 times 8 is 32, 32 plus 8 is 40, 40 plus 8 is 48, 48 plus 8 is 56, 56 plus 8 is 64, 64 plus 8 is 72, 72 plus 8 is 80, 80 plus 8 is 88, 88 plus 8 is 96, and 96 plus 8 is 104. And then finally, 104 plus 8 is 112. Now, why did they stop at 112? Well, because I only have 110 muffins. Okay, so I actually can't fill 14 boxes. Okay, I don't have enough, but I can fill more than 13 boxes. Right? If I stopped at 104, what do I do with the other 6 muffins? They need to be in a box, right? So find multiples of 8 that is between, that 110 is in between. So 13 times 8 is 104, right? So we need to find a number, a multiple of 8 that is in between 110. That 110 is in between. So 110 would be right here, right? In between 104 and 112. So it's in between 13 and 14. So 114 is, 14 times 8 is 112. So 112 is in between 104 and 112. So 110 divided by 8 is between 13 and 14. Now, which one is 110 closest to? Is it closer to 104 or 112? Well, 110 is closest to 112. It's only 2 away from 112. It's 6 away from 110, from 104. So 110 divided by 8 is about 14. So we're going to say there are going to be about 14 boxes filled. All right, so now try this. List the next 8 multiples of 10. So right now we're at 2 multiples of 10. So 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 multiples. The next 8 multiples will get me to 100. List the next 7 multiples of 100. So here, just to make sure, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to fill in 7 multiples, the next 7 multiples of 100. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Okay, so that's fairly simple, right? Skip counting. And so let's look at the mathematical practice. And it says, when estimating a quotient, that's the answer to a division problem, how do you know which 2 numbers it is in between? Well, that's kind of an important question, right? Because we're trying to find the closest estimate. So we're going to find 2 multiples of the divisor. That's the number we're taking the dividend, like the 110 in this case. And the divisor is what we're breaking it into, or how many groups. So in our case, the divisor was 8. Okay. That the dividend is in between. So in our example, 110 was in between 104 and 112. Okay. And the 2 numbers you multiply right? So the 2 numbers we multiply. How did we get 104? How did we get 112? So that was 13 and 14. She multiplied by the divisor. Are the 2 numbers that's in between. So what we did on this page basically is this. We found 2 multiples of the divisor. In our case, it was 8. That the dividend is in between. 104, 112. The 2 numbers we multiplied by the divisor, 13 and 14, 8 times 13, 8 times 14, are the 2 numbers the quotient is in between. And we chose the one that was closest to our number. All right, so let's look at some more. And so let's estimate 196 divided by 4. Wow, okay. So what number times 4 is about 196? Well, let's start with the next 6 multiples, okay, of 4. Okay, and I'm just putting the 6 lines just so I can just focus on counting the 4s and not, how many was that? So 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Are any of these multiples close to 196? Well, no, we're still got a long way to go, right? So no. So that's going to be a long list of 4s if we keep going like that. Maybe we need to come up with a different plan here then when we're that far off. So if I multiply by multiples of 10, the products will be greater. So using multiples of 10 will get me to the 196 faster. Okay, well, that's a better idea then. So instead of 4, let's go 10 times 4. Okay, so in other words, we're going to start with the 10th multiple of 4. The 10th multiple of 4 is 40. Then we'll go to the 20th multiple of 4, which is 80. And then 30 would give me 120. So you see what we're doing? So we're just multiplying the counting numbers by 10. Okay, so 40 times 4 is 160. And 50 times 4 is 200. So all I did here is basically skip count by 40s instead of by 4. Okay, this number here are the number of multiples. So I know that 196 is in between 160 and 200. So the number of 4s is somewhere between 40 and 50. So the quotient is between 40 and 50. Which one is closest to 196? 200 is, right? 200 is only 4 away from 196. This one's like 36 away. Okay, so this one is closer. So 50 times 4 is closest to 196. So 196 divided by 4 is about 50. Okay. So let's go back and look. If I skip counted by 4s, if I kept going, that means I would have had to have 50 lines. Oh my goodness, that would have taken me a long time. Okay. Who's got time for that? All right, so let's use some math logic there and say, no, let's do it by multiples of 10. Counting numbers of 10 by the divisor. So 10 sets of 4 was 40. 20 sets of 4, 80. 30 sets of 4, 120. 40 sets of 4, 160. 50 sets of 4, 200. Okay, so that got us to 196 a lot faster. Now, if it was 19 divided by 4, okay, we can skip count, right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. All right, we get there much faster. All right, we have to look at the divisor and the dividend. A restaurant has 68 chairs. There are 6 chairs at each table. About how many tables are in the restaurant? So we're going to estimate 68 divided by 6. And so we need to think, what number times 6 is about 68? Well, we do know that 6 times 10 is 60. If I add another set of 6, now I'd be at 11 times 6, I would be at 66. If I add another 6, I'd be at 72. So which one of these is 68 closest to? 68 is closest to 66. 68 is closest to 66. So the best estimate is about 11 tables in the restaurant. So when do you multiply by the divisor by multiples of 10 to estimate a product? When do we multiply the divisor by multiples of 10? So in our first example, we didn't use multiples of 10s. We just went 8, 16, 24, 32. So when would we multiply by multiples of 10 like we did in our second example? In our second example, we multiply by multiples of 10, right? So the best way to say that is that when the list of multiples remember when we were counting by 4s? When the list of multiples becomes more than 10 and is not near the desired dividend. Okay, in our case, we skip counted 4s 10 times and got to 40, but that was nowhere near our dividend of 196. So desired dividend or product, since we were skip counting by multiples, right? So we were multiplying by 4s in that case. 4 times 10 was 40. So that was our product. And that was nowhere near 196. So then you would multiply the divisor by multiples of 10. Okay, so this is kind of just a general rule. So in your head, just multiply the divisor by 10, because that's easy to do, right? And if you're nowhere near the divisor, you're nowhere near the dividend that we started with, then we need to probably do multiples of 10. All right, so let's look at 145, number 2. Find two numbers the quotient is in between, then estimate the quotient. So 41 divided by 3. So I am in my head, I'm going to say 3 times 10. If I did 10 multiples of 3, I'd be at 30. Well, that's sort of close to 41, so I'm going to skip counting by 3s. So 3 times 11, now I'd be at 33. 3 times 12, I'd be at 36. Now I'm not multiplying 3 times 12, I'm just adding 3s, okay? Because we're skip counting by 3s, we're finding multiples of 3. Okay, so 36, I'm getting close. I haven't reached there yet. So let's add another set of 3s. And now I'm at 39. And let's add another set of 3s. And now we're at 42. Okay, so I found the two numbers the quotient is in between. Right? It's in between 13 and 14. So 41 divided by 3 is between 13 and 14. And it's 41 is closest to 42. So my answer is about 14. Okay, so my quotient is about 14. Now 5 times 192. 5 times 10 is 50, right? Well, that's nowhere near 192. So we're going to start at 5 times 10. Now let's go 5 times 20. And that gives me 100. So what am I skip counting by? I'm skip counting by 50s really here. Okay, 5 times 30 gives me 150. 5 times 40 gives me 200. Okay, so I've passed 192. So it's in between 30 and 40. 192 divided by 5 is between the quotient 30 and 40. Which one is 192 closest to? 192 is closest to 200. So it's about 40. So my quotient is about 40. Number 4. 90 divided by 7. So again, I want to, if I can go up to multiples of 10, right? I can tell whether to keep going by 7s or if I need to skip count by multiples of 10s. Well, 7 times 10 is 70. It's not too far off. So let's go ahead and just keep adding 7s. So now we're at 77. And 7 times 12 is at 84. And 7 times 13 is 91. So 90 divided by 7 is between 12 and 13. Okay, which one is closest to our dividend of 90? This one is, right? So it's about 13. Okay. 67 divided by 4. So 4 times 10 is 40. So I think we're going to have to keep counting by 4s. Because if I go 4 times 20, that's 80, which is more. And I think I can get closer than that. So let's go ahead and keep adding 4s. 4 times 11, 44. 4 times 12, 48. 4 times 13, 52. And again, I'm not really multiplying 4 times 13 in my head. I'm just counting by 4s from the previous answer. I'm adding 4 each time. 4 times 14, 56. 4 times 15, 60. 4 times 16, 64. 4 times 17, 68. Okay, so it is in between 16 and 17. It's going to take between 16 and 17 sets of 4 to get to 67. Which one is it closest to? 67 is only 1 away from 68, so I'm going to say it's about 17. 281 divided by 9. So 9 times 10 is 90. Is that anywhere close to 281? No. So we're going to count by multiples of 10s. 9 times 20 gives me 180. I'm still not there. 9 times 30, that's 270. All right, so that's closer, right? And then 9 times 40 is 360. So it's between 30 and 40. And which one is 281 closest to? It's closest to 270. So I'm going to say my quotient is about 30. Okay. And you might say about 31. You could say that. But again, this is an estimate. Okay. So about 30, about 31, they're basically the same, right? 31 is about 30. So we're just trying to get close. 102 divided by 7. Well, 7 times 10 is 70. 7 times 20 is 140. So should we just keep counting by 7s? Yes, we should. So 7 times 11, 77. 7 times 12, 84. 7 times 13, 91. So we're getting close already, right? 7 times 14, 98. 7 times 15, 105. Okay, so we know it's between, the quotient is between 14 and 15. Which one is 102 closest to? 102 to 105 is 3. 98 to 102 is 4. So it's closest to 15. So about 15. 85 divided by 6. So 6 times 10 is 60. Okay, I'm going to just skip counting my 6s. I'm not that far off. So 6 times 11, 66. 6 times 12, 72. And remember, all I'm doing is adding 6 each time. 6 times 13, 78. 6 times 14, 84. So we need one more, and that gets us to 90. Okay, so we know it's between 14 and 15. And it's closest to 6 times 14. 84 is closest to 85 than 90 is. So I'm going to say about 14 is my best estimate. Number 9. Number 9, 220 divided by 8. So 8 times 10 is 80. I think I better count by multiples of 10. we're not close enough yet. So let's go 8 times 20, 160. I'm still not really close. 8 times 30, 240. Oh, okay, so all right, I went over by counting by that. So which one is it closest to? 220 is closer to 240, right? So I know it's between 20 and 30, and it's closer to 30. So I'm going to say about 30. So what we're kind of doing with these estimates is when we start to divide, and it kind of is more of a process and we follow specific steps, we want to have a starting point. And so that's what this is doing. It's helping us get to a starting point, right? 443 divided by 5. Well, 5 times 10 is 50. That is way far away from 443. So we're going to keep going by multiples of 10s. So now we're at 100. 5 times 30, 150. 5 times 40, 200. 5 times 50, 250. 5 times 60, 300. 5 times 70, 350. 5 times 80, 400. And 5 times 90, 5 times 90 is 450. So we know that is between 80 and 90. Between 80 and 90. And it's closer to 450. So I'm going to say about 90 for the quotient. About 90. All right, number 11. 8 times 10 is 80. Okay, I'm going to keep counting by 8s. Okay, 8 times 11, 88. 8 times 12, 96. So we're done there. We've gotten to 95. So we know it's between 11 and 12. Okay, and which one is closest to the 95? The 96 is. So our quotient is going to be about 12. Okay, 49 divided by 3. 3 times 10 is 30. I think we can go ahead and keep counting by 3s. 3 times 11, 33. 3 times 12, 36. 3 times 13, 39. 3 times 14, 42. 3 times 15, 45. 3 times 16, 48. 3 times 17, 51. Okay, so it's between 16 and 17. And which one is it closer to? 49 is closer to 48. So we're going to say our estimate's about 16. Okay, number 13. Decide whether the actual quotient is greater than or less than the estimate given. Write less than or greater than. So 83 divided by 10. 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 11 is 88. So is the actual quotient greater than or less than the estimate given? Since 8 times 10 only gets you to 80, and I have to get to 83, it has to be greater. The actual answer would be greater. Okay. 4 times 40. 4 times 4 is 16, so 160. So the actual answer would have to be less than 40. So what did I do? I took the 40. They told me that their quotient is 40, and I multiplied it by the divisor, and that gave me 160. Well, 160 is bigger than my dividend. So I can't be quite at 40. It's going to be slightly less. Okay, number 15. 6 times 11. I do know that one by memory, but 6 times 10 is 60. One more 6 is 66. So 6 times 11 is 66. That is less than the dividend. So my answer has to be slightly more than that estimate of 11. What's the question? A dolphin's heart beats 688 times in 6 minutes. The answer is about 100 times. So what's the question? How many times does a dolphin's heart beat in 1 minute? Okay. So in other words, 6 times 100 would be 600. So for every minute, it's beating about 100 times. All right, 17. A mother bottlenose ate 278 pounds of food in 1 week. About how much food did she eat in a day? So we're going to take 278 and divide by 7. 278 divide by 7. Well, 7 times 10 is 70. That's kind of way off of 278. So let's count by multiples of 10. 7 times 20, 140. Still a ways away. 7 times 30 is 210. Oh, we're getting closer. 7 times 40 is 280. So which one? And then it says about. So I don't need an exact answer. So it eats between 30 and 40 pounds of food per day. And 280 is pretty close to 278. So I'm going to say about 40 pounds per day. About 40 pounds per day. All right, let's go to page 46. 146. Number 16. Number 16? No, that's 18. I know that. All right, if a bottlenose dolphin can eat 175 pounds of fish, squid, and shrimp in a week, about how many pounds of food does it eat in a day? Milo says the answer is about 20 pounds. Leah says the answer is about 30 pounds. Who is correct? Okay, so 175 pounds in a week. So that's 175 divided by 7. Okay. So which of them is going to be closest with their estimates? So if we go 7 times 20, right? Because Milo says it's about 20 pounds. So it would be his divisor times 20 would give him the dividend. So 7 times 20 is about 140. All right. 7 times 30 is 210. So which one is closest to the dividend of 175? Well, 175 take away 140 is 35. So Milo's off by 35. And Leah, 210 take away 175. 75 plus 25 is 200. 25 plus 10 is 35. So they're both 35 away. So couldn't we just say they're equally correct? There could be an argument made that it could be 20 or 30 because the difference is exactly the same between them. So I'm going to say they're equally correct. Okay, they are both correct because their estimates are both 35 away from the actual dividend. 19. 4 families went out for lunch. The total food bill came to $167. The families also left a $30 tip for the waitress. If each family spent the same amount, about how much money did each family spend on dinner? And explain how you found your answer. So we have $167. We have 4 families. They also left a $30 tip. So the first thing we need to do is find out how much money they actually did spend. So I came up with $197 that they've spent. So that's $197 divided by 4. Well, 4 times 10 is 40. That's pretty far away from 197. So I'm going to do multiples of 10s. So 4 times 20 is 80. 4 times 30 is 120. 4 times 40 is 160. 4 times 50 is 200. Okay, so we know that each family spent between $40 and $50. Which one is closest to 197? The 50 is. So about, because it says about how much money did they spend, I'm going to say about $50 per family. What did we do? First, added 167 plus 30 to get total spent, or total cost of dinner. Then we divided 197 by 4 to get an estimate of about 50. And number 20, there are 6 showings of a film about Van Gogh at the Art Museum. A total of 459 people saw the film. The same number of people were at each showing. Okay? About how many people were at each showing? Circle the numbers the quotient is between. Then explain how you found your answer. So 459 total people, 6 showings. So the division problem would look like this. 6 times 459. 6 times what is 459? So the division problem would be 459 divided by 6. So we're going to start with 6 times 10, and that gets us to 60. That is not close to 459, so we want to switch over to counting by multiples of 10. So 20 times 6 is 120. 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 40 is 240. 6 times 50 is 300. 6 times 60 is 360. We're just counting by 60s, right? Okay. 6 times 70, 420. 6 times 80, 480. Okay, so 459 is in between these last two, so it has to be between 70 and 80. So circle the numbers the quotient is in between. Explain how you found your answer. I multiplied 6, the divisor, by multiples of 10. Until I got two numbers that 459 was between. So that's our introduction to division for lesson 4.1. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking about remainders. And the remainder is exactly what it sounds like, something that remains or left over. So we will talk about that tomorrow. So until then, may the numbers always be in your favor.